He said, Miss Yami voicing for Miss Yami. Our interpreters. So John, do I go first? You possibly go. Joy will voice for you first. Yeah. Yes, I voice for you. San, welcome. Kumi, hello, good morning. Welcome to you both. And Rafa, where are you? I can't find Rafa. There, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Yummy. Rafa signing, Yummy, I'm here. You see me? Wait, I need to pin you. There, I see you, Rafi, now. All right. We're about to start. My name is Yami. Thank you, everyone, for coming here. How are you all? Good. Our guest participants, are you doing good? I hope you had your breakfast already this morning. Yes. I hope you had your fills for today, so you could pay attention and stay close to, pay attention to everything that will happen this morning. Let's start with a prayer. Jesus, please. Okay. Okay. Now I'm on the spotlight. Oops. Wait. Where is on spotlight? Okay. It's right. Let us pray. Let us put ourselves in the presence of God. Dear Father in heaven, thank you for, for calling us this morning. Please, please help us and open the eyes, the hearts and minds of everyone. Give wisdom to our speakers and lecturers. Our topic with the theme or with the missing out everything. Sorry, apologies. Again, sorry.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for this morning. We ask for your blessing. Please give us wisdom and energy for this training for deaf teachers. We hope that you would sustain the enthusiasm for our presenters and our participants. We hope that we would learn as much as we could. And we hope that everything will be taught to us will be kept in our hearts, and that this will be used for the benefit of our children in the different regions here in the country. Please bless us in the name of Jesus. Amen. Our Binilyan prayer. Mary, Our Lady of the Stars, please copy me. Pray for us. Saint John Baptist de la Salle, pray for us. Saint Benilde Romanson, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. All right. Can I ask Our deaf participants from NCR and Luzon, can you raise your hand? Give me a, okay, not including you, Michael, Sir Michael Vea. But you asked, sorry. Anyway, Anna and deaf. Anyway, just our participants from Luzon, can I see your raise your hand? Those from Manila, Baguio, can I see your raise your hand, please? We have a lot. Zone, the north of the zone or south of the zone. Yes. Then from Visayas, can you raise your hand, please? Just one? We have only one from Visayas. Where is it from, please? From the Dumaguete. Okay, the Dumaguete. Thank you. Then can we see those coming from Mindanao? Love? Yeah. This is correct sign here near the neck. Correct. Two, right? Okay. Two. Noted. Thank you. Are you all coming from public schools? Who are private schools here? Can I see a raise of hand? Number 3 and number 4. Just two. So 2 are from private schools and the rest. So, okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for being here, for coming here. Also, we'd like to welcome our guest from Nippon, Miss Ryoko-san. Miss Ryoko-san, she's a sixth. She's a fish. Sorry, the videos are. This fish. She's in a. Miss Ryoko-san is her 5th video, and then Miss Ikumi is here. Hello, Miss Ikumi.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Then I'll just give you a short background of Miss Ikumi. For Miss Ikumi. Miss Ikumi herself is there. Oops, do that again. Color team. Miss Ikumi, alright, giving a background. Works with Miss Ikumi. To give a background on Miss Ikumi, she works as the program officer of the True Colors team of Nippon, and she herself studied in Gallaudet and is an alumna on international development and public administration, right? Should I say it right, Mr. Kumi?
Right, that's right. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
And she's also the program coordinator for support on deaf people, achieving full social as deaf people achieving full social and quality education through sign language. And second, development of sign linguistics studies. Third, recognition of laws on sign language. I find it so sign language. All right. Yeah. All right. Just checking sign language. And then thank you. So let's give a hand to Miss Ikumi-san. Also we have Rafi. Rafa here, our translator from ASL to FSL or IS. Yes. Take it away, Miss Ikumi. And Rafi.
Hello everyone. Hi. All right. So, can the interpreter see me? So, if I may proceed, I would like to share something. I would like to share my PowerPoint, please. All right. So, is my PowerPoint up? Can everyone see my PowerPoint slide? So I hope you're able to see my full slide on your screen. Yep. Okay, so I hope there's nothing intervening your view of my presentation. So we're all good. All right. Okay, hello everyone. Hi. So you're able to see me, right? Okay, so I will proceed with my presentation. Okay, so you could pin me, but you could not pin Rafa. Is that correct? So we'll just have to figure this out. I think you could pin two persons at the same time. So maybe we could try that. Hello. Yes. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, our account for this Zoom has limited functions, so we are only able to pin one person at a time. Yeah, it depends. So maybe if Ikumi-san will be presenting something, and then if the deaf would not be able to understand that, then we could call on the support of Rafa, and then we could spotlight Rafa for everyone to see him. So I think that will be the process for this morning. All right, so I think we're all good. Hello, hi again, everyone. Thank you to the College of St. Benilde for inviting me here this morning to share something about our organizations. As a while ago, I was introduced by Yami. My name is Ikumi. This is my sign name. I'm a deaf person. I work for the Nippon Foundation in Japan. And for today, I was given a limited time to explain something about the Nippon Foundation and what we do there, the work that we do, and the important question of why it is very important to have deaf teachers in the schools, in deaf schools. Okay, I know that we need to have that full support given to teachers for the deaf, and the crucial role that they play, that deaf teachers play. Okay, I'm really sorry to hear about the recent happening there because of the typhoon. I hope all of you there, your families, your friends, are all safe from that typhoon. I hope that everything would go back to normal soon. And yeah, we still are going through the coronavirus pandemic. Unfortunately, I'm not able to meet all of you face to face, but luckily we have the online platform. We are able to meet each other virtually. So and thank you for the College of St. Milad for hosting this particular workshop. First, I would like to explain something about the work that we do at the Nippon Foundation. So we are independent nonprofit organization which provide grants to different projects that are being developed. So different developmental projects. And this was established in 1962, way back before, I think about 50 years ago. Yeah. And the Nippon Foundation wants to support different areas for children who are sick, trying to help them recover from their health issues, or for children without parents. So they provide education to better their lives. So they provide grant for that. And of course, we have people with disabilities, for deaf people, for blind people, for those with mobility impairment, those who have prosthetics, those who are using prosthetics. So the Nippon Foundation provides support for them to go to college, to university, just like Rafa here, and also Anna Arce, who went to Gallaudet University for their education. So Nippon Foundation provided the support to them. And also to the College of St. Minod. Recently, they opened the Benilde Deaf School. And that was through the support provided by the Nippon Foundation. So we're hoping, it is the hope of the Nippon Foundation to further the education of deaf students all over. And of course, we have for ocean concerns, so we have this grant being provided to them. As you can know, we have the, well, we gather grants from this motorboat racing that are being done. So that's the one of the ways wherein the Nippon Foundation get grants. So every year, this association who does the motorboat racing, they give 30% of their grants for our projects and programs. The Nippon Foundation not only support programs in Japan, but they support different programs globally in different countries. The goal is to try, to support different organizations, universities, non-government organizations, government organizations as well, different companies. So they try to establish partnership for societal transformation. So as you can see from the photo, there's Miss Anna Arce there. I think this was taken back in I'm not really sure, 2016. And then, well, Rafi was not with the program back then, so he's not included in the program, in the photo rather, but we have Miss Ana Arce here from the Philippines, as you can see from the photo. So the Nippon Foundation supports different areas for full inclusion with sign language. We have for, well, for sign linguistics, so that sign language is being recognized with equal status to other spoken languages. So these are the different areas for full inclusion with sign language. One would be on sign linguistics. We want people to be able to have a sort of materials, publications, dictionaries that are focused on sign language. We want our teachers to know about sign linguistics and be able to teach that as well. So that's the first one. The second one would be on bilingual education. So we try to have the deaf children to be fully included at the classroom. So they have sign language as their medium of instruction, because if they, the teacher would just be using oral languages, of course, that would be not very accessible for deaf people. So we are encouraging the use of sign language inside the classroom. Third would be the legal recognition of sign languages. Of course, we want the government, the different member states to be able to recognize sign language, national sign language, so that they are able to provide accessibility for the deaf communities in the respective countries. Of course, we provide grants for interpretation, for trainings, for closed captioning, for interpreter insets, for different areas where interpreters are needed. So we want to take this a step forward for sign language to be legally recognized. In the Philippines, wow, we really admire, because you already have your Filipino Sign Language Act, which was approved, I think, I'm not really sure, it was it 2018, right? You're good. Everyone knows when it was approved. So back in 2018, so you already had the Filipino Sign Language Law. However, we don't have it yet here in Japan. I think the Philippines is the second country in Asia to have their sign language being legally recognized. South Korea is the first one. The second one would be the Philippines. Then that's a wonderful job. Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. And again, as I have mentioned on the three areas that we want to focus on, I'd just like to go on to explain further about the areas where we would like to focus on our programs, program support. We also try to encourage and promote sign linguistics through, as you can see from the photo, we have different books. These books are from the different countries in Asia that focuses on sign language. So they have dictionaries, they have teaching materials. Before, they used to have a dictionary. Well, they don't have a dictionary. If for any countries that don't have a dictionary yet, okay, or let's say, for example, you have a material, however, it's not found to be useful, or any materials that are being used for education purposes of learning sign language. So what we try to do is invite sign language experts, linguistic experts, and also other deaf people to get involved in the team to create these materials, okay, that would enable a deeper training, deeper look into sign linguistics, as well as to provide education for hearing people to learn sign language as well. And yes, the second one is the promotion of bilingual deaf education, as I have mentioned a while ago. First, they started this particular program in Vietnam. So as you can see from the photo in your upper right hand, So that's a classroom in Vietnam. So that's a school in Vietnam. So they have about 200 students, deaf students, and it's continuously increasing. And then later on, so they go through the program all the way up until the college level, wherein they are taught to become teachers. So after they graduate, they go to different regions in Vietnam to help deaf students in different regions there to learn and to develop, their education as well. Okay, so you have deaf people who are role models for the younger deaf generation. So this younger deaf people are able to see a lot of role models within the community who are also like them, who are also deaf, successful in the field of education, in the field of business. So it helps in their confidence, and it helps in their self-esteem. So another photo here, as you can see, would be from the Bilingual Deaf School that employs bilingual philosophy of teaching the deaf. Okay, so we have seen how and observe how the procedure of that. So we have a model for the Philippines as well as in the Asian region. So we have the Bilingual Deaf School to do that. And right now, as you can see from the photo, in the lower left-hand corner, I think this was started, this was in Lao, sorry, interpreter's error, in the lower right corner of the photo. So this is a classroom in Lao. So back then, they don't have any schools yet for the deaf, for the younger deaf people. So they started planning. So we have the Ministry of Education and the government of Lao coming together to help establish a deaf school there soon. Thirdly would be in the area of advocacy for sign language legal recognition. Now, there are some important questions that we posed in terms of the science behind sign languages. So there are many hearing people who have done research on spoken languages. However, right now they're trying to look into sign language from the different perspective, from the linguistics perspective, as well as from the neurobiology perspectives. Okay, so they try to look at it in the same way that spoken languages are being researched upon. They try to look into the rules of grammar, non-manual markers, how the brain functions whenever they are using sign language. So they found out that sign languages are also being processed in the same hemisphere where spoken languages are being processed. And I'm sure you all know about the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So in this particular convention, this was passed back in 2006 by the United Nations. And you have a lot of articles included there on the importance of education. So as you can see, the last two articles mainly focuses on education, and it says there that it has to ensure the right to learn sign language and promote linguistic identity of the deaf community, which means that the deaf, as they are growing up, should have access to sign language, okay? Sign language all around them. So that would mean it helps promote their identity. They become more aware about their identity as a deaf person. And of course, they need to be skilled. They need to become fluent with sign language. So who should be the role models, the language role models? Of course, it's very important to have deaf adults to do that. Okay. So in deaf schools, we need to have deaf teachers to teach the students there. Unfortunately, we have very limited involvement of deaf adults in deaf schools. Well, you're familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm sure you have been seeing a lot of that. It says there in goal number 4 of the SDG, again, it refers to education. So it mentions there we should ensure inclusion and equitable quality of education in terms of the learning opportunities. And we also have the Incheon strategy. This is the sign for that, Incheon strategy. And in that particular strategy, well, you have the UN CRPD in different regions being adopted in Europe, in Africa, in South America, in Asia Pacific. So here in the Asian Pacific region, we already have developed a list of goals for the government um, within the Asian Pacific region to further the cause for persons with disabilities. And in particular, for goal number 5, it talks about education, wherein proportion of children who are deaf should be receiving instruction in terms of sign language. And we have different instruments related to deaf and sign language. First, we have the Salamanca Statement, okay, which was passed way, way back before. But um, it talks about education, how students with disabilities should be included. Okay, talks about deaf people, blind people, those who are those who are using wheelchairs. They should have enough. They should have enough accessibility by providing like physical accessibility for them. However, a lot of times deaf people have been excluded because they don't have access to the language being used. So how are they able to communicate through the sign language? Okay. The sign language should match the particular needs of the deaf people. And so a lot of times what happens is that the deaf individual are often excluded within the general mainstream of the disability sector. And so what happens is that they have their own community who uses the same language in order for them to communicate and develop that. We also have the International Congress on the Education of the Deaf, wherein back in 2010, if you would remember the Milan Congress in 1880, so in this particular ICED conference, they rejected all resolutions that was passed at the Milan conference, okay, in relation to deaf education, because they found a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes, okay, in that Milan agreement back in the 1800s. And so we want more and more education for the deaf that uses sign language. We want more recognition for sign language. And so that's where the crucial role of deaf educators come in, because they are the natural users, okay, of sign language. And so they would serve as language role models for the younger deaf children. So hopefully that would also help in the development of the younger deaf generation. And lastly, I would just like to say from the World Federation of the Deaf, so they explained about something about inclusion. They said that inclusion is an experience and it's not a placement. So what do we mean by that? It means that the whole world, globally, everyone's talking about inclusion. It's okay. Yeah, for hearing children, for deaf students to be included in a hearing classroom. Is that what we mean by inclusion? Okay. You have hearing children, getting education through learning, through experiences, by conversations with their peers. However, for deaf children, is it the same thing? When we include deaf children in hearing classrooms, are they getting the same experiences? Are they getting the same accessibility in terms of communication with their peers? And oftentimes you found out that they don't. Okay, a lot of times there are barriers being posed to them, And so, again, this particular stand of the World Federation of the Deaf just means that deaf people should have accessibility to sign language. Um, they should be able to have to be able to converse with their peers using that same language, and they should have language role models to help them develop that particular language. Okay. So what I just want to say is that you all have a big responsibility. You all are role models for the younger deaf children, okay, as future teachers. And I hope that you would continue on, you would pursue, you would motivate, you would encourage the younger deaf generation to further enhance and develop their learning. All right. So that's it for me. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so Rafi's saying here, do you have any questions? Okay, Rafi's saying I'm just an interpreter here, so the spotlight should be with Yami, who is the host for this workshop. So let's have the spotlight on Yami.
Yes, anyone? Do you have questions for Ms. Hikomi? You could raise your hand, just one hand, so that you could be recognized. And our tech team continues. Or there's a raise, we have a reaction button below, and you can do this. It's actually a clap, a symbol for a clap, but let's just agree that this is a raise hand function. Or is it okay? Oh, anyway, so if you have questions for Ikomi-san, please raise your hand. Wait, I'm still, give me a minute. I'm still looking for people raising their hands. No questions, everyone? Anyone? I'm asking our deaf participants, are you able to understand Rafa? She translated everything to SSL, Filipino Sign Language. Is it clear? Was Rafa signing
Yes,
clear?
yes, everything's clear. Yep, participants are saying yes, everything's clear.
Yeah, oh, that's good to know, but how come there's no one reacting, no one asking questions? Is that, is that she is saying yes?
Okay, Ms. Techi is saying that maybe if it could be questions or maybe reactions. How do they feel about Ikumi-san's presentation? So anyone?
If number 17 raised his hand. Oops. Okay. Hello. Where are you from? Hi, my name is Renat Gonzalez. Gonzalvo. This is my name sign, Renat. I live in Isabela. This is the sign for Isabela in Luzon. My question is, Misikomi is from Japan, right? What can deaf teachers in the public school do deaf destroy racial hand deaf
All right. So Joy, if I may add,
Yes, please.
the question is: we have a lot of deaf educators who want to apply for a position in public schools. However, these public schools are requiring them to have license, education license. So I'm not really sure if we have the same situation here in the Philippines as with Japan. So I'm just wondering what you could say or comment about that.
Can you see me?
All right.
Ayan.
Okay, to answer Fernand's question, this is your sign name, right? Fernand. All right, Fernand. Great. Thank you for that question. Well, yes, I know you have a lot of challenges in getting your licensure to become teachers. I know it's difficult. So you're asking me what I can do. Um, well, I think you are the ones who will be able to answer that particular question because you know better than I do about the situation there in the Philippines. You all were born and grew up there in the Philippines, so you know what's going on there. I live in Japan, so I don't have any knowledge about the systems and procedures there in the Philippines. I've been there, yes, but I don't think. I think this is the same challenges that a lot of deaf people have been experiencing. So I think it has something to do with their basic education from K to 12 in most deaf schools. Um, there's no one to, to serve as language, as sign language role models for us. And it's the same thing in all countries. Normally, if you have like hearing teachers, the development would not be as comprehensive or as holistic as when you have deaf teachers inside the classroom. And so I believe that Binil Deaf School, maybe it's one approach to be able to respond to that particular concern that you have, wherein you have the bilingual philosophy that to use inside the classroom. So you have sign language as a medium of instruction, and you also train your deaf students to read and write in a second language. And so hopefully, if we have that particular model, that could also be you know um, replicated in other regions there. So hopefully that would address the situation and everything would become better in the future. And yes, I think what you could do there is you try to create advocacy to have more teachers. Why it's important to have bilingual education. So you need to create that awareness because maybe a lot of the hearing teachers or some of the deaf teachers are not yet aware about bilingual education. So normally they just focus on um, uh, uh, monolingual education. So they just focus on the oral language being used inside the classroom. So if we have enough evidences, enough proofs to prove the effectivity of bilingual education inside deaf classrooms, so hopefully that would create some paradigm shift with how this, our government and maybe the education sector would with regard to deaf education. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Can I go to my? I have one second question. I've had many experiences in my school, or in school where I am at, where uh, the principal would ask when I apply, for example, deaf teachers would apply in our schools, but principals would say they would only allow one teacher per school. And applying in for us deaf teachers to apply in public schools has been a challenge. It's been very hard. So I just noticed that.
Yes, and that's the same thing. That's the same challenge with other countries as well. Most of the times, deaf teachers are being looked down upon um, by by the society. So I think um, since you have the FSL law already there, hopefully that would create some changes. Hopefully that would be enough supports in order to come up with rules, with policies to have more deaf teachers in deaf schools. Perhaps you could figure out certain strategies to encourage more deaf teachers be involved. I believe you have the, well, I'm not really sure if you know what's the reason for not accepting more than one deaf teachers. Okay. So maybe I think we really need to challenge that particular thinking, that particular policy. Well, I'm not sure. In the Philippines, you have the disability, the anti-discrimination. Yeah, you have the Anti-Discrimination Act in the Philippines, right? So I think you could also use that to support your cause. Yeah, I understand, but still, this kinds of situation are still prevalent. So, yeah. But thank you for that kind of information.
Thank you also. Thank you for answering my question. Are we done? Yami signing? I think I saw someone raising his hand. Is this Jesus? Number one, Julie. Can you introduce yourself, please, and where you're from? Hello, my name is Julie. This is my signing. I'm from Pampanga. Pampanga. Okay, I was very inspired and touched by your message, Mr. Kumi, about especially when you mentioned the importance of deaf teachers teaching in a deaf classroom. Uh, of course, it is very interesting. Uh, deaf children will be very engaged when they have deaf teachers because they have role models as compared to having hearing teachers in the class. And I appreciate that you emphasize that. But more, us in SPED schools, we generally have hearing teachers teaching the deaf. Uh, and then it was my turn. From my experience, where I thought deaf children, uh, at first, the children were engaged and then they became interested. Then many of the students transferred to my classroom, deaf students, because um here in Pampanga, uh, interpreter missing.
So what happened
Student
was that
fine.
we have some, if I may take over, Joy.
Yes, please,
What
please.
happens is that, well, Ikumi is signing. I'm not really sure if I understand that. So maybe if you could um, maybe backtrack a little bit. So I think what Mr. Juvie here mentioned is that in a particular SPED school in Pampanga, they started out with a small population of deaf students inside the SPED school. And so later on, when they found out that they have a deaf teacher inside the classroom, of course, the population started to grow. And once that these deaf students completed their program in our center, in our SPED center, then they were actually went to back home to their different provinces. So in some parts of the Philippines, we're in, I think this is one way of replicating the model, modeling the schools, the systems that we have in that particular SPED center, where you have deaf teachers inside the classroom. So from a very small population, they grew up to become 185 um, deaf students who completed that particular program. And Ms. Ikumi signing, yes, that's wonderful. And I hope that you would continue that particular initiative. So yeah, please carry on with that kind of work that you are doing.
All right. I just want to inform everyone. I know we would love to accommodate all your questions, but we need to move on to our program, our planned program. And yeah, we need to follow our schedule. All right. If you have more questions for Mrs. Kumi, you can email us or message us, and then we'll relay them to we'll relay to her, and she would answer you. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Kumi, for the inspiring message. Wonderful, inspiring message. But before you go, can we have a photo with everyone included, please? With Mrs. Komi-san here. Also, kindly open your videos, everybody, our camera, so we could see you. Shaq, signing, please open your camera so we can see. I'll be taking your picture. And of course, don't forget to smile. Smile, please. On three. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, next page. Please maintain your smile. So 3. And then maybe you could show your signing. So that it's in the picture. Next page. Again, show us your signing, please. Thank you. We're good, I think.
Miss Ikumi saying,
Miss Ikumi.
yes, I maybe Miss Ryoko would have any comment before I leave. All right, so again, Ikumi here. I'd just like to thank all of you. I'm really sorry I would want to stay longer to watch the other presentation. Unfortunately, I have another appointment, so I'm really sad to be leaving this workshop. But I think Ms. Ryoko will be with you for the duration, and we'll have more opportunities to interact with the deaf. So yes, thank you so much.
Thank you again, Mr.
Ryoko-san, would you have any comment or anything you to say? Anything at all?
Thank you for the presentation, Ikumi. Maybe next year I'll be the presenter, so I learned a lot. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Ryoko, could you say that again? Because they just spotlighted the interpreter.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the presentation, Ikumi. This is my first time to be this kind of seminar for the deaf community. So it was quite nice to learn a lot of things.
Thank you.
All right. Deaf applause for Miss Ryoko.
Thank you, Mr. Yoko and Ikumi. Mr. Yoko will be staying with us for the rest of the morning, and we'll say goodbye to Miss Ikumi-san. We need to leave. Stay safe. Can we move on to the next part of the program? We have Mr. Rick, Sir Arisa, Sir Rick Lobo to share his presentation. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Can you see me? Yes, the floor is yours, Rick. All right, Yami. Again, good to see you, everyone. Wait, oops. Sir Rick, I'm sorry, I cannot find Sir Rick. There you are. Can you make your tiny space bigger? Maybe move back a bit so we could see your sign better. This is, yeah, that's good. That's better, a lot better. Thank you, Sir Rick. Moving the spotlight now to Sir Rick. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the feedback, Ms. Yami. To continue, we will be practicing on how to make lesson plans, LP for short. That's what has it initialized for short. Okay. Before that, I'll have you in groups of 5, small groups of 5, to practice the lesson. But don't worry, you will be put in different breakout rooms so I can check on your activity, the group work. You will be allowed to practice, making and presenting your lesson plan later in a PowerPoint presentation. So I talk about writing effective lesson plans. I know some of you have experience already, but others may have not in writing or making lesson plans. There are 2 kinds. We have the daily lesson plan. Let's have it as DL. And then the detailed lesson plan. The daily lessons that you have the teacher's guide every day. The detailed lesson plan is more extensive and describes the lesson in detail. Describes us more in detail. For the detailed lesson plan, of course, teachers make that every day for the rest of the week. It's almost the same. The daily lesson plan is almost the same as the detailed lesson plan, but the detailed lesson plan is more specific. It's like a roadmap, and the teacher explains the process in as he goes about the lesson every day. Parts of the lesson, the detailed lesson plan. Parts of the lesson plan are the objectives. Second is content. Sorry.
You have learning resources, of course, what the materials that you need to be using. You also have procedures, and then you have the remarks, and you also have reflection. So let me show you an example of the lesson plan that I use. Now, this is particularly useful for face-to-face classes. First, again, this would be for in-classroom use. So as you could see, well, later on, I will be showing you some example from objectives to the subject matter to materials. And then fourth would be on the procedures. And then fifth, you would have an application. And then sixth, you would have the evaluation. So I will be explaining to you in details what these parts are. So later on when we have our breakout sessions, so when we open those breakout rooms, we will have, well, limited time for you to come up with these different parts. So hopefully you try to agree within your group on what particular subject you would want to make a lesson plan. We will have a practice creating this lesson plan. So you could decide as a group what subject you would want to focus on, and it should have all these different components. Okay, so you need to pick one leader for your group. And then you could put the different parts as I have mentioned. So these leaders, I'm sure all of the members there would have experiences creating lesson plan. So yeah, so you could discuss the different parts. Joy?
Yeah. Okay, for the first part, let's talk about the objectives. Oh yeah, this is a sign. It always says when we make the lesson plan, it says at the end of the period, the students are able to do what? That's the objective of the lesson. What do you want the students to learn in class about the lesson? You could write 2 or 3 objectives for your lesson plan. And it has to be cohesive. All right. The second is our subject matter. In short, it's our topic or the title of your lesson for the day. And then next, we have your materials. What do you mean by this? These are your references or your references. It can be references from books and pages showing you got ideas for your lesson. This could also be papers or any equipment you will use for your class that day. So you have to also put them in your lesson plan. If you're using a whiteboard, then you include that as part of the materials, the list of your materials, even this whiteboard marker. Then we have your procedures. You will explain how you will be teaching your lesson based on your objectives, how my students will learn the lesson, we're done with the materials, and then next the teacher or you will write the process or the stages, and then you will be teaching your lesson to your students. And you will describe it or write it step by step. So we call these your procedures. Next part of lesson plan writing is application. This means how your students will be able to apply the lesson you taught. It's not just that they learn from it, but they should be able to apply the topic in their own lives. Not just learn, but also use them to their benefit, to their advantage. And then we have the evaluation. This is how we find it. So after writing the procedures or the step-by-step plan to teaching the lesson, you will have to evaluate your students' learning if they really understood the lesson. How is it done? It could be teamwork, role-playing, anything that applies to the lesson you have for the day, which will assess the student's understanding of the topic. So we have the 6 parts of a lesson plan for face-to-face setting. We'll have a group activity later, like I said, in the breakout rooms. So I need you to put the spotlight on me. Yes, thank you. So these are what we will do later. We will go into our separate breakout rooms. Are you fine with that? Are you understanding my sign? Good. Okay. You will have your own group, and then you will be given enough time to first agree amongst yourselves what subject will your group work on. You write your objectives, discuss and agree on your objectives, write it down. One person will be responsible to write it down. Summarize the objectives and present it later. Everyone will take turns. Every group will take turns. Presenting their respective group objectives. Depends on the topic or subject of choice. But this is just practice, so no need to. I will be writing on my board. I hope you could follow. Yeah. So we will be working on these 2 parts. You will now go to the breakout rooms and you work on your objectives and subject matter. It's on the topic of your choice, or subject of your choice. So you have to agree as a group, think on the objectives and the subject matter. One person will take notes and show the output to everyone. So you will be working for group on the lesson for today. Are we ready to go to our breakout rooms? Oh wait, it's Yami has a Shaq has a question.
So how many breakout groups are we having? 5, right? So we have 5 breakout groups. And how many rooms do we need? Okay, so we have 6 breakout rooms with 5 members for each group. All right, I got it. All right, for the participants, again, this is Shaq. Participants, so later on for the breakout rooms, so there would be a pop-up screen later. So just click on that one and then you could proceed directly to the assigned breakout rooms for you.
Shaq, wait, Yami signing. Shaq. Sir Rick, I have a question. Sir Rick, Sir Rachel. Are you aware that some participants here were not able to join the session last time? So maybe Teebs or other members like Teebs, Ray can join the group to assist those who are new. Okay, wait, can we put the spotlight on Sir Rick? Requesting to shift spotlight to Sir Rick, please. Second. Second. Miss Ryoko Sat. Can Miss Ryoko-san, Miss Yami is asking if you'd like to get in one of the breakout rooms and observe. Okay, please put a spotlight on Sir Ariel. Okay, as you go on to your breakout room, can I see can those assigned to group 1 move to their breakout room already? Okay. give it a bit of time. Our tech team will move you to your respective breakout rooms. Just wait a bit. Not. If you're done with I'm sorry. Okay, I missed that part. If you guys are still seeing me, just to recap, we will be working on two goals, right? You have to write examples for your objectives and your subject matter for your topic of the day. I hope that's clear. Right now, our admin is assigning you to your respective breakout rooms. So let's just wait a while. I think we're about to be ready. We're almost ready to bring you to your separate breakout rooms.
Hi, Ryoko-san. This is John, the interpreter. A while ago, Yami is asking if you would like to observe one of the breakout groups for the activity because she will be assigning you to a breakout group so that you could join them and observe them. And the interpreters will also be with you if you're interested.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I was wondering, am I the only one listening to your interpretation?
Yes, Ryuko-san. Yep, you are the only hearing person.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
All right. So we'll
Yeah.
tell Yami to assign you to a breakout room. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're trying to look for. Okay, so they're trying to compose the learning objectives. So one is to remember. So they're trying to figure out what the statement would be. And also they are looking for, Emerson is signing, they are trying to look for
I think you've had your own discussions with your respective groups, working on your lesson plan for the objective and the subject matter part. Can we see each group? Can we have a presentation for each group? Can we take turns? Again, can we start with group one and show us your results, your output? Group one. Who's from group one? Can I see? Can I see the members of group one? Are we ready to present your output? Shaq, can you let me know who the members of group one are? Emerson is waving. Yami saying, I think Khalil is the leader of group one. We have Khalil, Emerson, and Jeremy. Where are you?
So I think Khalil is having some internet connection problems. So Emerson will be taking over for the presentation. So here, Emerson showing the objectives. So the first objective is for the students to learn. All right, sorry, let me introduce myself first. My name is Emerson. This is my name sign. I am from Laguna, which is in the south of Manila. And the topic will be, well, I'll be presenting about the objectives. The lesson objectives is for the students to be able to show the background of a national hero, to explain the impacts of independence and rebellion against the Spanish, and then third, to apply their understanding, again, to apply and understand their learning about the national hero. So the subject materials would be, well, the subject materials would be on Filipino heroes. All right.
All right, can we have group 2 now? Presenters for group 2. Thank you, Emerson. Can we see the members of group 2? Isabel signing. Maybe Juvie will be showing our output, and Isabel, I will explain.
Okay,
You can
so objectives is characterize the natural resources in the Asian regions, categorize the different countries per region in Asia, and describe the characteristics of the physical environment in Asian regions and climate. So, yep, Isabel will be presenting the output for group 2. So we have 3 objectives. Our subject would be on social studies, with the lesson, as Juvie have mentioned. So that's the subject matter, the natural resources of Asia and environmental problems. So reference Model 1, so that's a title in Filipino language, the geography of Asian region.
These are the materials we'll be using.
So these are the materials.
Yes.
Juvie, can you show that again, please? So, okay, so the materials. Okay, so Juvie is showing the actual materials that we will be using for the class. So we don't have anything written about that.
Yeah, what do you need? Isabel, what do you need? Okay, wow. You went on to the materials part already. We only asked you to do objectives and subject matter. Let's good. We're done with group 1 and group 2. Their subject is history. Let's see group 3 now. Okay. Group 3, where are you?
So check here, group 3, who are in group 3? Anyone? Anyone from group 3? Can you raise your hand? Okay. So, yes, Joy, go ahead, please.
We're teaching grade 2, and our objectives are to define how the different again. So Identify how to find the difference of subtracting zero difficulty. That's the first objective. And the subject matter is for materials you would require internet connection and reading materials for grade 2. Book, the math book, backboard, and book. We won't be we'll just focus on these two. Sorry, I had to interrupt. I will focus on these two first. Let's have group 4. Okay, my name is Fernan. This is my name sign. And before, we came up with these objectives. For teaching grade 1. Yeah, in elementary. And the first objective, as I showed a while ago, is first to define addition, define the concept of addition, and B, give examples of addition, and C, solve. So solve problems, examples of addition. All right, so we have groups 1, 2 on history, groups 3 and 4 on math. Amazing. Now, can we see what the output of group 5 or what group 5 had? Group 5.
Okay, so this is Marvin. Okay, so this is Vincent. So my name is Vincent. This is my name in sign language. I'm with group 5. And I will be presenting about the topic on English. Subject matter is English. So we chose, our group decided to focus on the English subject on the parts of speech. So the objective would be understand the meaning of action verbs. So the first objective would be on, well, this is focused primarily on grade 4. So that first we focus on the cognitive objective. So what means for the action verbs. Then then we'll have a psychomotor objective, which means that they're able to follow and answer whatever questions we have. And then the third, it would be affective or emotions, is for them to appreciate the lessons that will be taught to them. So now can we have group 6, members from group 6, please? All right. So for group 4, so we tried to write everything down. However, we were not able to do anything. So I've noticed some groups have been using visual aids, but we again focus, some groups focus on English and math. Most on would be elementary. I'm the only one who's teaching high school. I completely forgot the objectives that we have back in elementary. So we just copied whatever there are existing objectives for the elementary schools. So since most of the members are teaching in elementary, so we just use objectives for the elementary level. So the 4 of us discuss, focus on the mathematics. I'm sorry, this is rather small. We did not assign anyone to write it down. So, the objectives basically is for, first is for the student to be able to identify multiplication, how to multiply. Secondly is for the students to appreciate and learn. So Shap, here, if we could ask you, love, if you could adjust your framing so that the users will be able to see you better. So please adjust your frame accordingly. Thank you. So again, let me start again. First objective is for the students to be able to identify multiplication. Second, for the students to appreciate the numbers. And the third objective is for the students to be able to multiply numbers, multiplication. And the materials will have, basically this is for grade 5 level. So we'll be using multiplication tables. Thank you. All right. I'm really happy to see all of the groups really working hard. So we have group 1 and 2 on history, group 3, 4, and 6, I think. 3 groups on mathematics, and then group 5 on English. So let's just try to summarize. So now with the group, so we'll proceed with the next part. Okay, so now we're hoping that, maybe we could try to work on this for 5 minutes. So try to identify what else are. The 4th would be the procedures. 5th would be on the application. And then 6 on evaluation. Okay, so maybe you don't need to write it down. Just have to sign it during your presentation. So we'll just have 5 minutes. So we'll go back to our breakout rooms again. So let's have our tech administrators to please set up the breakout rooms again. So discuss all these 4 parts. So we'll go to the breakout rooms now.
So Rick, will we have the same breakout room, same groups?
The lesson, so we'll have something on paper perhaps. So is that right? So we all agree that these are the materials that we'll be using. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Next, in terms of the procedure, all right. So I know everyone has been working really hard preparing for the lesson plan, but in the interest of time, we just want, so we'll focus on the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth parts of the lesson plan. So if we could have someone from group one, we'd like to ask all of you just sign it, summarize what you have discussed. So for the materials, we have history. We'll be using manila paper. We'll be using some pens, some markers. In terms of the procedure, we'll identify the background of these national heroes, who is Andres Bonifacio, uh, the education background, um, his involvement with the rebellion, and then, yep, rebellion against the Spaniards. Then we have Dr. Jose Rizal as well, his life story and how he rebelled against the Spaniards. So we also have Antonio Luna, how he got involved with the army, and then talk something about Filipino culture. In terms of application, deaf students will be able to apply their understanding about the background, education background of these different heroes, and hopefully it would inspire them. and like learn from them, learn from their wisdom. In terms of evaluation, we have a lot. First would be identification, like try to write the stories for the national heroes that we have mentioned for Rizal, Bonifacio, and Luna. Then for number two, why did they rebelled against the Spaniards? So we'll talk about the independence of the country, and then how it was reunited after this we were freed from the Spaniards.
Okay, amazing work, Group 1. But there's still room for improvement. Now that is just subject is history, right? Let's see the work of Group 2, who's also handling history. Group 2, where are you? Group 2. Teachers are from Group 2. Is Group 2 here? I'm here. It's a bell signing. Can you share a slide? I'm asking the texting if you're able to share slides. Is it possible? But we don't have written output as of this time. I'm asking the tech team if you're able to share slides. Can you see my slide or not?
Arcel is saying, I don't think that we'll be able to share um, screen right now. So maybe you could just show your laptop on your camera. Okay, well, because we're running out of time, maybe we could just sign whatever you have.
Okay, for our materials, we have manila paper, pen, and printed paper, cutout papers for the students to work on. We have a geographical map. We could buy that in a national bookstore. It's easy. We could put that on the board. For the procedure, we start with the prayer. Then we greet our students. Good morning. Check attendance. Check their names if they're here or not. Then we move on to the motivational part. That will show them the map of Asia. So ask 3 questions. Anything they know about Asia. Then that'll be the motivational part. Then they proceed on to the lecture, where we introduce Asia and mention that it's divided into different regions: the north, the south, the west, and the west and the east, and the southeastern part. We won't discuss the provinces in detail because it's just an hour lesson, and you'll just get the important part. Probably northern part of Asia, its natural resources, its climate, and the general features of each region. After discussing the natural resources, we can discuss the type of soil they have per region and the vegetation, the landscape, or the landscape. And for the procedure, we could ask leading questions. After this explanation, the teacher could ask leading questions to further check on the understanding of the student. And then we move on to the application part, wherein we have two activities. One is individual, and the second is a collaborative effort of the group. For the individual activity, we need to check if they are familiar with the words. It's important that they memorize the name, where the provinces are. We make them work on the cutout. And for the second activity, the group activity, collaborative work, they will work on the natural resources of, this is for the individual activity. Each student will work on the natural resources available per region. And for the collaborative work, we'll have a puzzle wherein the map will be cut into different puzzle size shapes, and the group will try to assemble it. And for assessment, moving on to the assessment, we'll make use of a multiple choice exam about the region. Finish group 3. Now,
Ma'am, we have group 3. Can we have someone from group 3, please? Group 3, anyone? Group 3. Okay, so let's wait for someone from group 3. Anyone?
okay, we're done with subject matter and objective. Can we have this? Can we have a group mate? This is her signing. My group mate is, yes. To lead the discussion, to lead the reporting. Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Maribeth Gonzalez. This is my name. I'm from Palawan. These are both of the sides of Palawan. We're now on the materials of our subject matter, of our lesson plan, sorry. All right, we have grade 6 students. And, okay.
Shaq here, excuse me, sorry, Maribeth. We could not see clearly your signing. So maybe you could adjust your framing, please. So we'll be able to see you clearly. Could you adjust it a little bit? Yes.
Better? Is this better?
Please go ahead.
Apologies. Again, we're done with subject matter. We have grade 6 students learning factors. And for our, we have materials like the book, blackboard, the whiteboard, markers, and the eraser. And this is your whiteboard. These are the materials we'll be using, plus the math book. This is our math book for grade 6. But for me, I'm teaching in high school. We discussed amongst ourselves within our group if I could present something in math, even if it's not my subject matter. So I'm not sure the details of the lesson plan. It's the DLP, the detailed lesson plan. How to write it, what's in it. But our group mate, this is her name sign. She will be reporting next. Her name is Princess. Can you put the spotlight on her?
Hello. So let me introduce myself. My name is Princess. This is my name sign. I am from Batangas, southern part of Manila. In terms of the assessment, I don't have my license yet. Now, in terms of the procedure, first, we will plan our activities. We'll have prayer first, and then we'll check the attendance. Third, we will review the previous lessons. And then next, we'll proceed with developmental activities. We will have the motivational activities first. Maybe something on counting. We'll be doing some word work, asking our students to think about the lessons. So we'll be asking them to have more participation. And then we'll be grouping them. For example, giving them an example of -40 plus 30 equals -10. So that sort of example. Irish, maybe you could show them the visual aid. So if I may add, in terms of the procedure, we'll be planning activities. As I mentioned, prayer, checking of attendance. And then next, we'll have review of the previous lessons. Then we have developmental activities. And then motivation. So we'll have some counting practice, counting drills for them to develop their cognitive skills. Then we'll have a discussion on negative numbers, negative integers. Identifying parts of the subtraction, the minuend. We'll also be discussing about the digits. And then next we have a higher level of numbers. We'll proceed to place value. So we'll be showing you an example of that. So in mathematics, what we do is show them how to proceed with subtraction. Let's say, for example, aligning by place value. As you can see from here, so you have on one column, because we have to emphasize And Aricel here saying, that's good that you are elaborating on the topic, but we have limited time only. So if you could proceed, just summarize. Okay. So let's go back to Irish, please.
All right. I think I'm done. I think I'm done already.
How about your evaluation? Group 3?
Oh yeah, I forgot. My group mate will present the evaluation. Hello? Can you see me? My name is Naomi. This is my name sign. I'm from Bohol. Yeah. Where the chocolate mountains are. Or chocolate hills. Sorry. Okay, this is the application part. We have
Okay, so we'll have evaluation. Can we spotlight some of the
135.
tentative
I
activities?
130.
Naomi?
for the evaluation part. We're giving them a seat work. And the students can copy and solve it themselves.
Okay, so we're done with group 3. I'm sorry because we have very limited time. So yeah, we'd like to hear more from you, group, but let's proceed now with group 4, please. Anyone from group 4?
Can I call on my group mate to help us this thing? This is her sign name. He or she can show a visual aid. Hello everyone, my name is Beth, and this is my name sign. I'm from Palawan also. Here's our output. For materials, we have flashcards and objects, procedures. So just please skim, read on.
So Aricel is saying, so that's it. Okay. So you added assignments as well. All right. Okay, so try to summarize your presentation, please, because again, we're running out of time. So kindly summarize it. All right.
For our subject matter, we need, for our materials, we need resources, the book, the exact page number of the lesson, flashcards for our students, where they will be able to solve examples, and then other materials, classroom materials like a pen, paper, and the like. And for the procedure, uh, we'll just expand on on addition, explain it to our students, make them understand it better, and then allow them to apply, wherein they're able to work independently based on what the teachers showed. They would add objects on the board just to deepen their understanding of the lesson. And then for evaluation, you will give them a quiz wherein they will be solving addition of different objects. If they make it, then the teacher did a good job. If they understand it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Next we have group 5. Can we have someone from group 5, please? Anyone?
Hello, everyone. Good morning to all of you. My name is Winona. This is my sign name. I'm from Laguna, and we are group 5. Our materials for our lesson plan is whiteboard, white eraser, pen, manila paper for the group work, and printed material. For the procedure, I'll have my interpreter, my teammate to explain.
Hello. So as you can see here, the procedure would be the following. First, we'll start with the prayer. And next, it will be followed with the checking of attendance. Then we'll review previous lessons, so recalling lessons. Then we have development activity and then motivation. So just a short activity for them, maybe a video. And then we'll have presentation of the topic of the lesson about action verbs. So for the discussion, we will be explaining what action verbs are. Next, we will have show them some examples. So that's it. Okay, so we'll have another member of our team to present about the application. Selena. Hi. For the application, good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Selena. This is my name sign. For the application, so we will have a group activity. So we'll be separating them into 2 groups. And then we will give them sort of a role-playing activity. So they will be guessing words. And we'll have some pictures. So the group would have to guess what the words are. So we'll be using some flashcards for this activity. So it's sort of a relay game. So that's all. That's it. So turning it over to another member. So it's Jenna's turn now. Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna. So just to summarize, let me show you this. So for example, we have this assessment. So we'll be doing this at the end. Assignment is to write 5 sentences using these action verbs. And then they will have a picture and a matching type for the quiz. So Aracel, now we proceed with the final group, group number 6. All right. So for the materials, we'll be using manila paper and some markers. We also have flashcards for the procedure. First, we'll start with the greetings, like saying good morning to the class. We'll have exercise, physical exercise. Then we'll review the lessons, the previous lessons. Then next, we will start with the discussion, trying to explain the topic matter, the subject matter. And then comprehension check. So we'll be asking students some questions. So what is, for example, 1 times 1? We'll have some recitation. And then lastly, I will write some problems on the board. Then we will ask a student to come in front and do some board work and answer that. Now for the application, I will be asking the students to memorize the multiplication table. And then after that, I'll be turning it over to Isa for the evaluation part. Isa? Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Isa Alvarez. I am from Bohol. That's in the central region of the Philippines. So here are some applications, some evaluation rather, for multiplication. So as you can see, we have some examples here. So that's it. Thank you. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Group 6. So now I'm really happy. I'm really sorry. I want to continue on with this discussion on lesson planning with everyone, but because we have very limited time, I'm really happy to see improvements in terms of you making your own lesson plans. So again, we have lesson plan for face-to-face instructions. So now, how about lesson plan for online? We have to make the transition for online classes. Therefore, we need to learn how to create online lesson plan. So I will be sharing with you just that. Okay. So this one is for online setting. So you have the daily lesson log as well. So the basic information for your class. So you don't get overwhelmed. First, you have the objectives for day 1. So you need to prepare that for 5 days, meaning from Monday to Friday for 1 whole week. In a face-to-face, you could make that on a daily basis. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But for online classes, you need to have a 1 week daily log. Okay, so come up with the objectives and then come up with the content or the topic for that whole week. And then what are the learning resources? You need to have the manual code that is being used by your schools. You need to have video lessons. This is a requirement right now. You need to have video lessons and accommodation worksheet. Fourth, you need to have development of the lesson, which means what are the activities, the first activities, second activities, and so on and so forth. So you need to enumerate them. Fifth, you need to include the remarks, which means how many students actually attended your online class. So you need to count that. And then second, like the number of students or parents who participated in the online. Then lastly, would be other concerns like, and what are the other concerns? Internet connection problems. So you need to prepare this for 5 whole days. Okay, so this is for online settings. So now we'll go back to, let's have, so you could turn off the slide now. All right, so we just have to make sure we have enough time because again, online setting, you need to make that for 1 whole week in advance, okay? And it might be a little bit overwhelming. So maybe the first day, try to relax a little bit, and then Tuesday start with the classes. However, I'm sure none of you has experienced it yet, but the Department of Education is actually proposing, the Ministry of Education is proposing this, okay? A 5-day lesson plan for online setting. So that's it for my presentation. If you have any questions, I think Yami, can we have Yami to facilitate the Q&A, question and answer portion?
Me? Are you calling? Are you referring to me? Yes. This is my signing, Philip. But it's alright. Anyway,
Okay, sorry about that.
We had an extensive discussion this morning. It took most of our time. Maybe some of you are hungry already, but maybe we could give everyone a short break and allow also the participants to ask the written questions. Make sure that we end at 11:30, okay? And we just have about 7 minutes to entertain your questions. Can we limit it to 3? 3 questions only. Okay, Sir Rick, for our lesson plan, I'm handling elementary students. Sometimes it's really difficult to check on the grammar because it's really not my first language, and English is not my strength. So how do you? And then when I have to check by my coordinator, I don't feel okay.
Right.
Alright.
So it usually happens, based from the experience, especially with mainstream classes where you have hearing and deaf students together in one classroom. I think you could make a lesson plan, might be a separate lesson plan, but something, maybe you could do some editing, because again, the Department of Education is very strict. Sometimes you are being asked to write it in English, right? But we are hoping that you could find a partner, maybe a hearing colleague of yours, to help edit, okay, to help edit your lesson plan. So it would be more acceptable based on the standards of the Ministry of Education. I think was it Miss Ikumi or Miss Ryoko? She explained something about how we need to um, be proud of our identity of a deaf person. And so we need to find ways of really improving the systems and procedures, how to make it more deaf friendly in a sense. Okay, so all the systems and procedures that we have.
Thank you, Sir Rick. I'm teaching high school. This is Emerson signing. Are the lessons in elementary, can we use that to teach deaf students in high school also?
That's a very good question. Right. Based from my experience teaching at the Philippine School for the Deaf, before I taught, there were 2 deaf teachers there, but I'm the only one remaining there. But yes, you're right. For senior high school, the Department of Education said that there should be a standard, okay? Meaning, for regardless if you're teaching hearing or deaf, you should have a standard lesson plan. We have what we call the BEC, the Basic Education Curriculum. So it should be, again, following a hearing standard. Okay. Again, Emerson, we need to somehow adjust it to the needs of the deaf. However, the Ministry of Education is very strict in terms of, trying to lower the standards. So we need to be mindful of inclusion concerns. Okay. So how do we strive that balance between meeting the standards set by the Ministry of Education? How do we ensure that these are actually responding to the needs of the learners, of the deaf learners, most especially? So if we need to add more activities, or if we need to have more explanation for our deaf learners, if it would help them, I think we could do that. So yeah, I hope it answers your question.
Okay, hello. My name is Isabel. This is my sign name. I teach in a. If I may answer, we don't have a full week in school. Sometimes 3 hours in a day, or and then consultation in the afternoon for the rest of the time. For what Sir Rick showed, uh, the guide is a bit heavy for us deaf teachers, but it is a requirement for deaf ed teachers. I'm working in a private school. I work online. Sorry, a public school. I'm I'm missing it. Sorry.
So
The interpreter missed it.
I think the question is, are these lesson plans that are mandated by the Department of Education applicable for private schools as well, or is it just
Okay.
for public schools? Yeah, I think especially for deaf teachers, this might seem rather heavy. Again, for face-to-face, it would be easier because you are seeing each other, communicating each other face to face, using sign language. So it would be much easier that way. You could have instant feedbacking. However, for online, there needs to be more work to be done, especially for our deaf teachers. Again, it requires to have videos. So you need to have videos every day. So you need to come up with links. Um, so it's rather a lot of hard work. It's rather a bit heavy. But remember, for deaf students, for our deaf learners, um, are they actually benefiting from this or no? Well, it would depend. Again, face-to-face would be more beneficial for them because it's more of a two-way communication with them. Deaf will be able to understand. Again, we need to understand where the deaf are coming from. They are very visual. So you could use videos, you could use all sorts of visual aids. However, in terms of instant feedback, in terms of the dynamics between the teacher and the learners, that would be certainly different when you go online. So I would say it's rather easier for face-to-face instruction. So yeah, it's more comfortable for me, the face-to-face.
Agree with you.
So
Love or disagree.
than doing
Agree.
online, yeah. Yes, Isabel, can we have the spotlight on Isabel, please? You're done? Okay, sorry.
It's about saying it's fine. It's fine. So thank you, everyone. Yami signing now. Thank you for your questions. I know we want to have more questions with Sir Rick, but it's time for lunch. Um, I'm not seeing. Okay. What Sir Rick mentioned a while ago. Yes, I totally agree. That is my experience also for teaching online. Face to face is a lot better for deaf children because they're visual. But for online, it's very limited. And you're not sure if the deaf are seeing what you're teaching or pointing at. Apologies, my sister was talking to me. Anyway, uh, online classes is difficult and very challenging for deaf students. So we really need the help and the support of the parents of our deaf students. But the problem, another challenge is if the parents don't know how to sign, then there goes another barrier.
Right. And that's especially a challenge for most deaf learners because they really want face-to-face I observe most of the students, they prefer face-to-face rather than going online because they're more comfortable. They're more adapted to that kind of learning if it's on a face-to-face environment. Yami?
Yes, Sir Rick, again, thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. Also, Sir Rick, for entertaining them. For our time check, we're going on a break from 11:30 to 12. So we're giving you 30 minutes break for lunch. And then can we come back at 12 with Sir Ferdy or 12:10 to have Sir Ferdy with uh, go with you? Huh? I'm sorry, 11:30 to 12:30 for an hour. We'll give you an hour break for lunch, and then we'll be back for this lecture at 1:30.
12:30.
12:30. So, but the other, first, I know some of you are wanting to continue, but I think our interpreters and everyone else would need their break and their lunch as well. So, Mr. Yoko-san, how are you? We're asking your preference. Would you like us to continue or have 1 hour break for lunch? Mr. Yoko-san, are you there?
Yes. I think I have to leave before lunchtime. So I just wanna thank for inviting the seminar today. It was a great to join the workshop today, and the teachers are working hard to create lessons and motivation for students. And it was really good to know, and I'll keep that in my mind whenever I work with Techi. And today, thank you very much again.
Very exciting. Yes. Can you please voice for me? I'm sorry, John. Very exciting.
Shaq is saying before Miss Ryoko leave, maybe we could have another photo taken with the group. Is that all right?
Sure, no problem.
Very exciting. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Aricel Lobo, Miss Ryoko. I used to teach in a public school before for 14 years. I'm a LAD passer, or the licensure exams for teachers passer, and now I'm working with CSB. This is my 9th time. Good day. Good morning.
All right, so let's have our photo taken. Let's have your best smile, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so stay put, please. We'll have another page, another group. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's have another photo, this time with your sign names, please. So let's show your sign names. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so one more for the next batch. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Yoko.
Thank you.
I need the spotlight on me. Yami signing. I just want to clarify again. Asking the plenary, would you like us to continue? You don't need a break, everyone? For a deaf teacher, deaf participants here, why don't you need a break? Oh wait, can I see a show of hands who wants the training to continue? Can you raise your hand? Can I see a raise of hands? Many, majority. That's a lot. I'm just curious, why do you guys want to continue? You don't need a break? You want to see Sir Ferdy now? Oh, these guys want us to continue. Wait, just a minute. So you don't need to eat. You're not hungry. It's almost 12. You're not showing any hunger. You're saying this is the last part. So what do you want? You have questions? Okay. So actually, for the next part, you will be. The plan was from 11:30 to 12:30. You'll be having your lunch break for an hour. Allow you to rest, stretch your muscles a bit, maybe walk, have some short walk to stretch your body. But if you want to see Sir Ferdy now, then let's decide. Let's ask for ourselves to help us decide.
I think everyone, majority wants to continue.
For me, I'd rather we have a break. Also, we're about to consume our time here in Zoom. Sir Ray will email you again and send you the Zoom link in a while. Can we see you at 12:30? Okay? See you later at 12:30 with Sir Ferdy. Hi everyone, apologies, we cannot give in to your request. Stay with us and see you later after lunch. We'll send you the Zoom link at 12:30. Bye-bye everybody.
Alright ko. Bye-bye. Thank you. Hello, there's your daughter.
Hi. Hello.
This is Shaq. Again, thank you to our interpreters. I know you have been tired. Your voice must be very tired. Thank you, John. So you could rest now. So we have enough time for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hindi na, babalik pa po ba kami? Hindi na po, right, Sir John?
Hindi rin
So
ever
you-
si Ryoko. So,
Mystery ako.
John, Joy. Oh, you have your